Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Established in 2014, DeLuna Coffee is owned and operated by Ed, Courtney, and Brett Lemmix. Lifelong FSU fans and Seminole boosters. Ed, class of 79, and son Brett, class of 2009, along with Miss Courtney, can regularly be found tailgating near the Unconquered statue. Wake up with their breakfast blend called Five Flags, named after the five flags of their city, Pensacola. Higher caffeine because of the light roast. It is their unique blend of Mexican, Colombian, and Ethiopian Yirgacheffe beans. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Azan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Take the promo code WARCHANT15 with you. You can save 15% off your order. But this bundle, man, it's already discounted. It's the Warchant bundle. Coffee and chocolate. You get a Wake Up Warchant tumbler, one chocolate-covered espresso beans tin, and a 12-ounce bag of Palafox Place coffee, which is not too strong, Corey, not too light. It's just right. Named after the main hub, Palafox Place in downtown Pensacola. It combines the Brazilian, Colombian, and African bean to give it just the right flavor. The coffee can be enjoyed any time of the day. Hopefully here in the morning as you join us on Wake Up Warchant. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. 5-star rating and review on your Apple iOS device, por favor, and a thumbs up on the YouTube. Here he is, everybody, Corey Clark. Corey, how are you, man? You grinding on a Sunday, weren't you? Playing Dadmo. Were you even able to watch the Super Bowl? We're going to be able to talk about the Super Bowl?
I did get to watch the Super Bowl. No, Brady just had his last indoor baseball practice of the year. They moved to the fields on Tuesday, buddy. So it never stops. His basketball season just ended on Saturday, and now his baseball season really kicks into high gear on Tuesday. So it's the life of a teenager, man, that's into sports.
It's incredible. I
did get to watch the Super Bowl, man. I did get to watch the Super Bowl. It was a good game. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was all right. We had a couple stinkers. Last year's game really wasn't all that competitive with Mahomes on one toe.
Yeah.
But, shout out to Cam and Jalen.
This one was competitive, right? Yeah, and Cam and Jalen won, and this one was at least competitive. Came down to the final 45 seconds, right?
Yeah, it did. Good for Jalen. That might have been a bad offseason for him if it didn't work out like that. Not that it was his fault. He got face masked. That wasn't cool. Come on, throw the flag, everybody. It's right there.
It's obvious. With something like that, I know we can't. And I didn't like challenging pass interferences. I just don't like all the challenges. By the way, I don't think there was a single challenge in that game. And until the end, there wasn't a single flag except for that dum-dum on the Bengals team that wasn't even in the uniform that ran out to sell. I mean, that's crazy. Has he ever seen anybody else do that? You just run out in the middle of a celebration in your street clothes? Well, that was nuts.
He's doing what Florida Gators do, and that's draw absurd penalties at the absolute worst time for their team. Yeah, it's Vernon Hargraves. He played in Florida, so him and then
is that who that was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just saw I had the volume. I was at a party, so I couldn't hear who that was. That's crazy, man. What in the world? But with something like the Jalen play, don't you feel like in this day and age in 2022 that it's not that hard to have somebody in the booth hit a button and say, "Look, that shouldn't be a touchdown. He grabbed him by the face mask and threw him down. We are going to retroactively call that." It was not a subjective call. It was not, they were both bumping and shoving a little bit, and he just fell down. He grabbed him by the face mask, and 40 million people saw it. But we're just supposed to be like, the guy there that has the flag in his back pocket didn't see it. All 40 million of us know that it should have been a penalty, but he doesn't, so touchdown. No big deal. That's just weird. It's weird we still do that.
I agree with you. It's it's an unchallengeable play. Well, you got to get it right. That was it was absurd, but hey, it all ball don't lie or whatever. Rams got 5 chances on that last drive of theirs. That holding call, the phantom holding call, the unnecessary roughness in the back of the end zone on the holding play that offset. So it all worked out. And I don't know. Maybe don't throw the ball in 4th and 1 in the shotgun. If Jimbo would have called that, I would have been livid too. I don't know what the Bengals were thinking.
Kind of came down that
Go ahead.
the game came down to 2 4th and 1s, right?
Yeah.
Like the Rams converted theirs because they gave it to apparently the best skilled player on earth, and the Bengals went in the shotgun and tried to block Aaron Donald 1-on-1, and their season is over.
So that is that. Football season now over. Long winter awaits. Well, we're kind of already in the middle of the winter, but you know what we're talking about. But hey, spring football's not too far away. But before we get to that, let's keep it a little bit on the pro tip still, but turn it more Florida State centric. Shout out to your guy Leroy Butler, Corey, getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Charles Woodson made the news delivery to his home. You retweeted it. He becomes, I think, the final member of the All-Decades team from the 90s to finally receive induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It was great. It was great to see his reaction. Vindication for him, I'm sure you could obviously tell by his reaction. And now 5 Florida State Seminoles go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Florida, meanwhile, has got 2. Just another feather in our cap up here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, man, that was really cool. If you guys haven't seen it, and you do follow me on Twitter, I tweeted it, I don't know, a few days ago, Saturday maybe. Just Charles Woodson, NFL Films, I assume it's NFL Films, had a camera crew out with Charles Woodson as he came to Butler's house, knocked on the door, and then told him the good news. And they kind of played it cool at first. Like, what are you doing out? Not cool, but played the role a little bit. Leroy did. And then you could tell, he's like, no, man, you're going to be in Canton. And just his reaction, and I think he even said finally, and just the big hug they had. Man, that's really cool. Because, look, he made his money. I saw that house. It's a really nice house. Yeah. He did all right for himself. I know he's got a tequila company. He's got some sort of liquor company.
Yeah,
so he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But, man, there is just something next level about hitting that plateau. I mean, it's an all-time – look, man – think of all the great players that have come through Florida State. He's number 5 that has gotten to go into Canton. And look, man, I've been to that museum. It ain't great. The Hall of Fame itself, I went with Brady a couple years ago. It's not going to knock your socks off. There's some cool things in it. But when you're done, you're kind of like, all right, I guess that's, it's just another museum. It's not anything special like the brick and mortar. It's nothing incredible. It's not going to change your life. But getting the bust and being a Hall of Famer, whether you ever even go into camp, man, that's something they'll never take away, man. That's an all-time great accomplishment, and it's a guy that, obviously was in the middle of one of the most famous plays in Florida State history, college football history, really. Invented the Lambeau Leap, although I guess Terrell Buckley would say he did. But either way, was a co-inventor of that and was also an awesome football player for a long time, and it felt like he kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. And it's really cool that they got it right, and he got into the Hall of Fame. He got inducted. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah. During that time, I should have pulled up the All-Decades 90s team because I wonder, who got in. There's probably got to be at least 1 or 2 people ahead of them that would be like, well, they got in front of it. Well, Leroy, but ultimately they did well. They made up for it. He's in there, so that'll be awesome.
I feel like that's I don't know who votes on the All-Decade team. I assume it's a cross-pollination of the people that vote for the Hall of Fame. But if you're on an all-decade team in any sport, but especially football, because the shelf lives are so, an 8-year window is about as long as you can expect to be great in football. If you're on an all-decade team, you need to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no reason not to be. So, man, there was a long time coming.
Here are the other dudes that were on it. There's some second-teamers, I think, that got in ahead of them. Yeah, Warren Sapp was a second-team guy. Bryant Young for the Niners, which I think just recently got in. Chris Dolan. But anyhow, so first team, Bruce Smith, Reggie White, your defensive ends. Cortez Kennedy, John Randall, your interior dudes, although I thought Randall played on the end. Linebackers, Junior Seau, Derek Thomas, Kevin Green. None of them are with us. That's sad when you think about it that way.
Wow, yeah.
Cornerback, Rod Woodson, Benedict Sanders. Dion. Love you, Dion.
Who?
Dion.
Oh,
Dion.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think we still have to hate him, I guess,
that?
apparently. I know you got to pander.
All right.
Got to pander.
Gotcha.
Steve Atwater and then Leroy Butler. Yeah, so there we go.
In that Atwater thing, man, Leroy Butler was in my opinion, was a much better player, or at least a better player than Atwater. Mm-hmm. But Atwater got famous for an NFL Films clip where he was mic'd up for a Monday Night Football game and hit Christian Okoye on a big third down run, and that became like his all-time highlight, and that propelled him to like household namedom, and everybody knew who he was because of that one clip and that one game. Now, he was a good player, don't get me wrong, but Leroy Butler was the best safety in football for a good portion of that decade, most of that decade.
Yeah, like the way that Brian Bosworth got famous for getting, jacked up by Bo Jackson. It was like the inverse,
right.
Like Atwater putting on Okoye.
Yeah.
Elevated him. But yeah, he was a headhunter. He would not be able to make the Hall of Fame. He would not thrive in today's climate, but that wasn't the climate back then, so shout out to him. Speaking of football, before we get to some other stuff, basketball related, Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week, things of that nature. We do have some clarity now on what spring football is going to look like. It will start on March 5th. So I'm not mistaken, that's a Saturday, Corey. I don't know if you can confirm or not. But, so it will start on March 5th. We'll get to speak to coaches. They'll have a little bit of a press conference the day before. But even more importantly and even more urgently, before that, earlier in that week, March 1st, 6 a.m., tour of duty. We'll be able to go out there and watch. And I would assume probably able to film. They let us film back in 2020. So with them letting us back out there, and listen, they were letting us film practice in the preseason until season started getting a little bit closer. So you guys get a first look at your 2022 Florida State Seminoles. Live in the flesh, 6 a.m. We'll be out there, Corey. I really think I might just stay up because to be up at 6 a.m., I know people don't care about this, but I would have to probably set my alarm for 4:30, commiserate for 30 minutes, get out of the bed, finally make some breakfast, and then
commiserate with who?
I don't know, just with God. The voices in my head.
Okay, fair. I thought it sounded like you had like a bunch of people at your house.
No, but just so
okay.
And then if I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 in the morning, I'm gonna get to bed what? I'm gonna try to get to bed at 9 o'clock. No way. Won't be able to shut my mind off. I'm like, get to bed, and then every minute that goes by, I'll be like, that's just one less minute you have to sleep. So, but you guys don't care about that. I'll be out there with a video camera, probably freezing, shooting your guys, your players, not shooting them, but film. Who are you excited to see out there in shorts and shirts? Jared Vance, right? Verse, rather. I keep saying Vance. Jared Verse. That's the guy I want to see out there moving. See how he moves.
Yeah, I'm not going to be there. Sorry. I'll be back for the start of spring practice, though, but I'm not going to be at tour of duty at 6 a.m. Please let me know how it is, though.
Okay.
Like, if you want to call or text or whatever you want to do, let me know because I'm genuinely interested in, like, what your routine was that morning.
I really wanted to do a live
And if you think you're operating on you want to do a live wake-up at 6 a.m. from
mic us up.
That would be great.
Just you and I would be mic'd up, just audio only, us just sharing our observations in real time of what's going on out there. Looks like a 10-win team, Corey. Looks like a 10-win team. What do you think?
I'd be like, that looks really hard. Well, he's sweating a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to throw up watching him do this. Ooh, that's hard, man. He's gassed. He's gassed too. Yeah, no, I could not offer anything of substance at all watching much better athletes than me prove it. And it's not like I'm in great shape, so whatever they would be doing, I would throw up in a third of the time it would take them to get to feel bad. So yeah, man, I just want you to tell. I mean, I'm excited to know how it goes, buddy.
I did see this from another outlet. Chris Nee tweeted out something about whether or not Jordan Travis, I don't know if it was him or maybe just their network, put it out into the ether. Is Jordan Travis a top 25 quarterback? To which, or will he be one in 2022? Like, does he have the potential? Can he? To which Kenny Dillingham retweeted it and saying he already is. Would he have done that if he was still the offensive coordinator at Florida State? I don't think he would.
Yes.
You
think he would have?
I don't think he would have.
I do. Well, because you're thinking like he doesn't want to make Rodemaker or Duffy feel bad?
No, but just, if he is, then why is your offense 90th in the country, champ? I think that, I mean, not to be a jerk about it, but I don't, it's a lot easier to say that kind of stuff like when you're no longer in town. But I mean, it's encouraging though. I mean, you didn't have to do that. But there he is from a distance, still coaching up Jordan, still letting him know that he's number one in his heart. So that's cool.
I feel like every time he does something like that, it's a shot at Norvell. Yet he wanted to play the 24-year-old on one leg. What? Don't blame me. You think he said that in the interview room, like when he interviewed in Oregon? Like, Kenny, we like you. You seem to have a really great mind. We love your personality. You're charismatic. But, man, you were 88th in the country in scoring offense this year. What gives? Norvell. I wanted to play Travis the whole time. He wanted a feel-good story about a kid, great kid, going to be a good coach one day, but couldn't do it anymore, and I had to try to make do with him. I couldn't. We lost it. I don't know. That Jacksonville State game had to come up. Well, I guess it doesn't because he knew Dan Lanning.
Exactly.
And Dan Lanning's like, yeah, I'll take you. Yeah, I guess he didn't have to explain anything.
Well, I was the first person he texted. That was probably the first person he texted after the Jacksonville State game was Dan Lanning because he's just like, hey, Dan, I know you're killing it. I know you're getting a head coaching job. I'm still coming with you. Wasn't my decision to start that guy. I wanted to start 13. You know that. I know that. So
yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Right.
Go to the source.
I think he would have done that, though. I really do. I think only because, he wouldn't have done it at this time last year because there was a real competition. But everybody knows Jordan's the starter now. And I think it's not like Rodemaker's going to have his feelings hurt, Plus, Dillingham could be like, well, Tate, you're 26th. You're right there, too. You're in the top. You're just not top 25. You're 26th. You're great, too. But I just think he would have. He so believed in that guy.
Yeah.
And spoke so highly of him on the record, off the record, any record about Jordan Travis. And I think he would have commented on that. I thought you were going to go in the direction of, do you think Oregon fans are getting a little tired of their new OC talking about Jordan Travis? Like, what about our quarterback, Kenny? Is he top 25? Is he any good at all? Can you tell us about that? But, yeah, look, and that does say something, I think, when we have the ongoing, eternal, never-ending Jordan Travis debate. Man, he does have a believer in that dude, doesn't he? And nobody worked closer with Jordan Travis for the last 2 years or knows him better than Kenny Dillingham. And Kenny Dillingham is an absolute believer in that dude.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So I guess what it pivots to then is I don't know how you can really kind of quantify what a top 25 quarterback is. I don't know if he plays a full season. I wonder what his numbers would have looked like in 2021 to where we then could have maybe tinkered with it a little bit. But, I would think you have to have probably over 3,500 total yards and 30 touchdowns accounted for if you're a top 25 quarterback. Isn't that probably like the floor to make it into that fraternity, Corey?
I don't know that you necessarily put numbers on it because so many offenses are different. You know when you know, right? I don't know that I'd put numbers on it as much as I guess wins matter, right? But Jordan Travis, he gets yards running too. Like, do those factor in? Do those the 11 touchdowns he'll run for, the 9 touchdowns he'll run for if he's healthy?
Yeah.
Does
so
that matter?
Like 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns of like total offense you're generating. And then if that's the case, then I would assume I would put the floor at 8 wins then. Like if you're going to get that out of your quarterback. If you have a top 25 quarterback with this schedule, maybe not the schedule, but with the returning talent that you have, the way you feel that you're building things here, because that's the quickest way to get everything done and to get everything fixed correctly. It's like the quarterback kind of hides everything. So that was kind of where I was going with that thought process.
It's impossible to quantify, right? He's not a top 5 quarterback. He's not a first day or second day NFL draft pick. He's probably not an all-ACC first-team selection because there's really good quarterbacks in this league. But we can tell if he is a good quarterback. And that's what top 25 means, right? It's not elite because what are there 60 Power 5 teams? So if you're and I know there's some good players in like for Eastern Washington and Nevada and places like that, but if you're keeping it at Power 5 teams, there's like 60 of them. Yeah. So being top 25 out of 60, all right, that's not great shakes. So, but it's good. It's not terrible. You're not losing games. And you can actually win some games. Like he can go win you some games, which is what good quarterbacks do. Everything else can break down. He can go win you a game. And so, I think you're just looking for good. And if you're a top 25 quarterback, and let's go out of 120 or whatever that is, I don't know what that means. You're top 15%. I'm not great at math. Top 25 out of 120. Yeah, I think that's 20%. You're in the top 20% in the country. If you're in the top 20% in the country at quarterback, you are a good college quarterback. That, yes, you should win more than you lose. So let's hope he's that. I think he can be that. I don't know if he's there yet because, again, it's impossible to quantify. if he's better than he was last year, then yes, he is a top 25 quarterback. He is a good quarterback. If he stays the same, he's better than serviceable, but better than serviceable, but not good, not great, not, you know what I mean? Not good. It sounds like a negative. Good, I mean good. Like E.J. Manuel was a good quarterback. I don't think Jordan Travis maybe gets to that realm, but he can be up against it where you're talking about a guy that's, I don't know, close to that, makes plays with his legs, keeps plays alive. Really, man, the last 2 drives against Florida where it was all on his right arm, and he made a couple of just ridiculous throws, and Pokey made a great catch. And then those the last 2 or 3 throws against Miami, like he's proven that he can win with his arm. So let's hope that he builds on that and has some confidence going into this season and lights LSU up, man. Just lights them up.
Does it make any sense if I think that if this team had EJ on it, they wouldn't be any better? But if the 2012 team had Jordan on it, it wouldn't have been better than what EJ was.
Say that again, the first part?
If EJ Manuel was on the 2022 Florida State team, it wouldn't change my thoughts of what they're going to be. Like, I wouldn't think, okay, we're going places now with him. But at the same time, I'm not dogging EJ. Love him. I don't think, that's not for me. That's also not me saying that Jordan's better than him, so the 2012 team would have played for the national title or they would have been better. I think EJ managed that everything he was asked to do, he pretty much was able to do. I don't know if Jordan would be able to fit in the way that he did and kind of execute. But, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I don't know that EJ was a good enough passer to make these receivers good. I don't know that EJ would have excelled with the receivers Jordan's had the last 2 years. You know what I mean? You didn't have much to work with. And, unless you're incredible, average receivers are going to make most quarterbacks look average. You're right. I agree with you. I don't know that it would have helped all that much. EJ's better than Jordan Travis, but I don't know if it's appreciable enough that you're going from 5 wins to 8 wins. I don't see that as a possibility at all last year because, man, the receivers just were pedestrian, to be polite. They were pedestrian.
The clutch shot, the biggest hit. It's time for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good
Player of the Week.
It's that time. The man has spoken. The Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. Sometimes people would like us to maybe spread the love. I'm here to pick elite people. I'm here to celebrate eliteness, indescribably good eliteness. Adrian Wildshut, welcome back to the show, big dog. This guy, Corey, ran the second fastest time in NCAA history, 13 minutes, 9.3 seconds. The 5,000 meter, Corey, which is like a shade over 3 miles. So do the math, everybody. Over 3 miles, he ran in 13 minutes. He's booking it like 4:20 a mile or something obscene like that. Second fastest time in collegiate history. Top 50 in the history of the sport. Adrian Wildshut, my Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. Shout out Sarah, South Africa. That's where he's from.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to go on the diamond, but the softball diamond. Lonnie's team started out the season 4-0. I mean, that's what they do. There were a lot of people to choose from. I'm going to go with Johnny Kerr. I wanted to go with Kaylee Harding because she made a SportsCenter top 10 throw. Like, literally, it was on the SportsCenter top 10. Just, if you saw my Twitter feed, go to it. An unbelievable throw from right field. But I'm going with Johnny Kerr. She's a redshirt freshman, one of the highest recruits and one of the highest ranked recruits in Florida State history. But last year she injured her knee and only played like 2 or 3, 4 games. Well, she starts off this season. Aslan, you listen to me?
Oh, yeah.
She's got 7 hits. She's got 1 double, 2 triples, and a home run in 4 games. She's got 15 total bases in 4 games. That's pretty impressive. She did get caught stealing though, so we gotta get that out of her. We can't have that anymore. But yeah, to come back and go 7 of 12 with 4 extra base hits and 5 RBIs in 4 games, that's a good start. That's a good start to 2022 for old Johnny.
There we go. Johnny Kerr, Adrian Wildshut, our Zaxby's Indescribably Good Players of the Week.
Hey, Aslan, before we move on to other stuff, I wanted to give another shout-out, not a Zaxby's shout-out, but, hey, it's pretty darn close, to Lauren Ryan. Florida State was just setting track records all over the place they had 3 nationally ranked, like the top ranked times in the country this past weekend. Trey Cunningham had one too, because that's just what he does. But Lauren Ryan, you listen to this, Aslan?
Yes, sir.
She obliterated the school record in the 3,000 meters, which I'm guessing is what, 2 miles? If 5,000 is 3 miles, I'm going to say 3,000 meters is 2 miles. Mm-hmm. She obliterated the school record by 9 seconds with a time of 8:47, which is nuts. And that's also the 4th fastest time in college history. Jeez. In history. And the fastest time ever recorded by an ACC athlete. So, welcome aboard, Lauren Ryan. Well done. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Florida State fans will like you. But that's a pretty impressive start there.
What's old Bobby B doing over there, man?
Locked and loaded is what it seems like. Jeez. Locked and loaded.
Shoot. And, yes, shout out to Lonnie and the ladies hosting a tournament and taking it to everybody. They're 4-0 on the season, wins over Mercer, Kennesaw State, Loyola, without Sister Jean, and they took down Kennesaw in a doubleheader on Saturday, back into the one to Loyola. So they'll back at it Wednesday against South Alabama, 2 o'clock at the Plex. I think that's what the cool kids call it, the Plex. So,
yep.
And then baseball, if I'm not mistaken, they start this weekend, right? Look at that.
They do, buddy. You are not mistaken.
Good.
They start on Friday.
Good.
3-game series.
James Madison, if I'm not mistaken.
Man, you're really worried about if you're mistaken or not.
I don't want. I mean, Ira gets mad when I get things wrong on the show, as if we're the show of record. It is James Madison. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6 p.m., 2 p.m., 1 p.m. slots on those.
I don't think he wants us to just say wrong things.
Well, I'm not, but my heart's in the right place.
Right. And here's the thing: is somebody not going to go because, man, Aslan said they were playing James Madison. This is Rhode Island. What are we doing here? Let's leave. This is ridiculous. I thought they were playing JMU.
He said George Mason. This is George Washington. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Gene, get these guys fixed. We say all that to help laugh through the pain of things sometimes. Basketball, which has been such I'm sorry, this sounds like I'm diminishing them, and I'm not diminishing them. It's just been a really fun diversion for people that grew up really falling in love with this, university because of its football program, to have something that's substantive and really exciting and to be proud of and to watch when your football team is not playing, and especially when they're not playing and they're coming off bad seasons. The basketball team has just been such an absolute joy to kind of cover and watch, but that's not been the case here over the last month or so. They're now in the midst of a 6-game skid, if I'm not mistaken. And Corey, you took to the internet, you took to your keyboard and pounded out, a pretty, I don't want to call it scathing, but a critical look at what's going on right now. And it's just always going to be kind of hard for me to talk about basketball because at the end of the day, it really is, the NBA, they joke about it being a make or miss league. I don't know how much different it really is in college, bad shots or good shots when they go in. But this team just doesn't have any kind of identity right now on offense. There's no interior presence for them. They don't have any shooters. So, the spacing for them is just non-existent. And I don't know, what we're to expect. And this is what I found interesting. I don't know what we're to expect out of guys like Matthew Cleveland that are so young to kind of pick up the slack when guys like Malik Osborne are out. Caleb Mills goes down in that game. Naheem McLeod, who seemed to be perhaps a lift for you, is no longer an available option. So, and John Butler's kind of in the mix there with him and Matthew Cleveland. And that was kind of the crux of your column, I think, was despite your sort of criticism of, hey, you can't look like this. Florida State, this isn't the Kennedy years. This isn't the lean year, the Robinson years. It's not the lean years. You should look better than falling behind 28-1. Is it fair to ask for more out of John Butler and Matthew Cleveland right now?
Yeah, and that was, to me, when I watched that game, and I even tweeted as much. I'm like, and I tweeted it early in the game. I tweeted when it was 18-0, which is crazy. You got down 18-0. I know the injuries are there. You can't just dismiss that and say, yeah, well, whatever, you still should win. But teams have injuries, and they still find a way to at least compete. I watched a game on Sunday where, who was it? Maryland was without their leading scorer. And they're playing at Purdue, which is number 4 in the country, and they lose by a point. The other guys stepped up, and I know they're a little older than Florida State, but it felt like, and Leonard even addressed it after the game, it almost felt like watching the first half of that game. It was like these guys go out there with a built-in excuse. We know we can't win. We know we miss Malik and Anthony and Naheem. We know we're not expected to win. and we'll just see how this goes. Like there just wasn't any pride, man. That was what was so frustrating about it. Like it was in him. Look, man, to get down 24-1 to a not, it wasn't Michael Jordan and James Worthy out there. You know, it's an okay North Carolina team. It's certainly not great. To just not even be competitive. That's the first time I've really seen that out of this team where there have been stretches where they've gotten blown out 3 or 4 times, but not from the jump. And it was almost as like they knew they had a built-in excuse, so why play hard? Why defend? We're freshmen. We're not expected to really attack the rim. We're not expected to really be confident with our shot. We're not expected to really guard these people. And it's just, that's not what Leonard's teaching. That's not how Leonard's coaching. But 24-1 is an embarrassment, man. Whether you're dealing with injuries or not. And let's not get it twisted. It ain't Terrence Mann, Trent Forrest, and Scotty Barnes on the bench. Like, they are very important players. Malik Osborne, Anthony Polite are very important players. There were games where McLeod only played 7 minutes a game. Like he was coming on, and they could really use him without Malik. But let's not act like he's some wily veteran that they just miss. Without him, they got no chance. It's not like North Carolina losing Baycott. This isn't that. These losses aren't big enough for that score to look like that. And really to score 20 points against Pittsburgh in a first half. To go 7 of 28 in the first half against Wake. I mean, these first halves are ridiculous. Yeah, you go score a bunch in the second half when the game's over and there's no pressure. But that's what I think I've been most disappointed in lately is like nobody has stepped up. Nobody has stepped up. Like I watch teams all across the country where freshmen go make plays. I know they're young, but they still make shots. They go make plays. They go have runs of, 10 or 12 points in 15 minutes. Matthew Cleveland and John Butler, until that second half on Saturday, looked like they didn't belong on the team. That's how poorly they were playing offensively and have been playing offensively. It was good that they got some shots to go down, but they're too good for that. And you want them to have some pride and be like, man, I'm tired of getting punked. Like John Butler got dunked on where the ball went off the side of his head. Like, just show some what for. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you realize what you miss with somebody like Malik not being on the being able to play, because he is the spiritual leader, the vocal leader, the leader of that team. And when you lose him, man, that they don't have anybody to follow. Caleb Mills, he's not a guy that's going to lead you by, I don't know, words, actions, mannerisms. He's just not that galvanizing force, and he's your best player. And the other guys are all freshmen. So it's not like I'm expecting them not to play well, to just, hey, man, next man up, big deal. You still got to win these games. There's no excuse. This is a very valid excuse for losing 6 straight games. There is no valid excuse for the way they looked on Saturday. That was just complete non-competitive AAU. It just looked like, they let a team score 62 points and a half, Aslan. Florida State. And again, I know they're missing 3 guys. They still got 10 dudes on scholarship. They're not down to 5 scholarship players. They got 10. Did you mismanage some of those? If you lose 3 dudes and you have to play a walk-on the majority of the first half, and then you got a couple guys that are forwards that you don't want to play that are on scholarship. So you miss some guys, which is fine, but I don't know, man. Like I get that it's hard for Harrison Prieto to go up against a 5-star from North Carolina and expect them to do well, but why is he on the floor? Like the other guys just can't do it, and if they can't do it, you got to go find some guys next year that can. Hopefully the Cavalry's coming, but that was an eye-opening loss because it was so non-competitive, and it was an embarrassing performance. It's by no means an embarrassing program. Everybody knows what I feel about Leonard. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. He is a great coach. Stan does a great job. They all do. CY does a great job. That is a good coaching staff that has proven it time and again that it can get a lot out of players. But, man, it would be nice to see these young guys because there's nobody else. Like Leonard said, I meant to get to this. Leonard said after the game, he's like, it was like they went into the sidelines for the guys with bandages to come help them, to come save them. And it's like, no, man, it's you. Next man up means you. So quit not play, like, go play basketball. Go step up for your team. Go step up and have some pride. And when you go to the basket, don't shy away and throw up some nonsense over the, off the backboard. Go strong. Shoot with some confidence. Play with some confidence. Guard somebody like it matters to you. And I know they're young, but man, that Florida State culture should rub off on those guys. And what I was kind of getting at in my column is, you don't want this to become customary. You don't want them to become accustomed to losing, because then that begets more losing. You want these things to sting, and you want them to be their pride to be hurt, and you want them to play really hard. You would have thought after losing to Pitt, god-awful Pitt, at home and scoring 50 points, 20 in the first half, you'd have thought they'd have come out with maybe a little more fire, maybe a little more, anything, direction. It's just aimlessly passing the ball around the perimeter, letting the shot clock come down. Raekwon Evans not wanting to go. Nobody penetrates. Nobody can beat a guy off the dribble or wants to. And, then that's how you found yourself down 18-0. So that was a long rant. I'm sorry. No. But, guys, I'm invested in Florida State basketball.
Clearly.
Been covering these guys for 15 years. That was gross.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Ira retweet Tony Carter after the Super Bowl about, it's players, not plays. I just don't know, like, what can we expect? Like, I know you kind of had some good praise for Cameron Fletcher in your column, but,
yeah.
I mean, Cameron Fletcher, when in meaningful time and in a tight game against Pitt, really didn't deliver anything. That North Carolina game was just so sideways in the second half. I don't really know what you can take from it with anybody's kind of production, unless you're just trying to kind of grasp at some sort of silver lining. But, Matthew Cleveland, yeah, okay, attack the rim, and then what? Get to the line, and then you're going to airball a free throw, and then you're going to brick the next one. I don't know, like, where that steadying force is. Like, they don't have any, like you said, they don't have anybody that can beat anybody off the dribble. There's nobody Wyatt Wilkes is supposed to be their knockdown shooter. He's not.
Right.
And they don't have anybody on the inside to help with any sort of spacing and get some good looks. So, and listen, we're not paid millions to figure this stuff out. Ham and his guys get paid handsomely to figure it all out. But, again, I just don't know what they can really do with what they have to work with. And I get it, man. Like, yeah, Matthew Cleveland, you're a ESPN top 30 guy. Let's maybe get a little bit more production out of you. But, we didn't ask Scotty to go out and do a whole bunch. We didn't really ask Patrick Robinson to go out and do a whole bunch. Not Patrick Robinson. Patrick Williams. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tony Carter, going back to the good old days, 2005, 6, 7, those seasons. Thinking about football still on the mind. But, yeah, I just don't know what we can really expect out of them, especially if it's this far into the season. They haven't been kind of thrust. But I guess, so what do they do now? Is everything are they trying to figure out a way to make this respectable down the stretch, like you said, to not pervade and not to pollute the culture? Or do you kind of have to figure out who you think you can win with next season and figure out how that's going to look?
I think that's a great way to put it. That to me is the only goal for the rest of the season. You're not getting into the tournament, because you're not going to go on and run the ACC tournament. You have to figure out a way for this stink to not pervade the culture. The culture has been built up for too long and has been too strong for one rash of injuries to get, because who's coming back? Like, say everybody comes back but Malik and Polite. Well, okay, none of the guys coming back have won anything. The only thing they really know, and Wilkes, obviously, the only thing these guys coming back, as talented as they are, what they might remember to end their season is like a 13-game losing streak. In getting North Carolina set a record. That was the biggest first half. That was the largest first half lead they had in an ACC game ever. North Carolina. Aslan, I don't know if you know this because I know you're not a huge basketball fan. No. They've had some pretty good teams over the years. No. The Tar Heels have had some pretty good players and some pretty good teams. That was the largest advantage they've ever had at half. So that's my concern is don't get accustomed to the losing. Just don't do it. Yeah. And that means just playing hard, man, and playing with confidence. Leonard said that after the game too. He's like, you guys have watched us long enough that we're usually the one to punch first. And he's like, today, we didn't punch back at all. They punched first and we never punched back. And it's like you can see I feel like he's a little bit worried about the fight level of this team. And they are young and they have lost confidence. And that is a hard thing to overcome. But that's why you'd like somebody like a Raekwon or a Caleb. He got hurt, so heaven knows if he's going to play. The problem is this roster is set up in a way where the only veteran players now are Raekwon Evans and Wyatt Wilkes. And look, man, Raekwon Evans has had some nice moments this season. Wyatt Wilkes has had some nice moments in his career. Those two guys aren't ACC caliber when it comes to senior leaders, veteran presences. They don't do enough for you. And so that's the problem. Your most talented players, especially now, are guys that have never done anything at Florida State. Nothing. Never played in a Sweet 16 game, never won anything of note. And now you got to try to get them to figure out what it means to play Florida State basketball, what that looks like, what that means. And they're just really struggling. Like the guy that knows the best is Prieto. But, you watch him, he's just not quite athletically gifted enough to keep up at this level, but he's trying his hardest. He tries. He has pride, but he just doesn't have maybe the requisite talent or physical ability to go with it. So what you need to happen over this next month to go into next season and get right back on track is the Malik Osborne, Harrison Prieto. Raekwon plays hard. Polite plays really hard. Maybe those guys come back. Who knows? They both could be afforded that opportunity. You want somehow that kind of magic dust, even though those guys aren't playing or playing well, to rub off on these new guys and let them live it and learn it. So next year when they come back as sophomores, if they come back, I assume they're coming back. I mean, anyway, that's another conversation for another day. I would think that all these freshmen are coming back, and when they do, they can have some confidence, and they can start building. They can be the guys that help show the culture to the younger guys, because you got 5 new guys coming in next year. Who are they going to be learning from?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the culture masters that rub off on them? That's kind of what you wonder about. That's my only real concern, because I know the injuries happened. But if Osborne doesn't come back, I really wonder about leadership and toughness and where that comes from next year. But I'm completely rash, and I was, it was such a pretty day on Saturday, and I stayed in my house to watch them get down 18-0, and then write about it afterwards. So maybe I'm holding that against them a little bit. But again, Leonard's a great coach. He's not going to figure anything out enough this year to make it a tournament team. Clearly, I literally don't know if they can win 1 or 2 more games. I mean, they lost at home to Pitt, and they got beat by an average North Carolina team by 1 million points. So there's no reason to think they can win anything left on the schedule. Certainly won't be favored, I wouldn't think. But if they can figure out a way, it's all about building towards next year, and not just, hey, let's get them some production. Try to keep that culture intact and build some confidence with those new guys, because they're going to need it, and they're going to need to pass it on next year to those new guys. You know how Leonard talks about how this is the newest team, the youngest team he's ever had? Well, man, what's he going to say next year when they bring 5 freshmen in? It's going to be another really young team, except they might not have veteran leadership, and they might not have anybody that's used to winning, which would be a real bummer going into next season.
That's the problem. I mean, it's just the whole 18 strong thing works when you've got NBA talent, when you have guys that have been in your program. You have an MJ Walker that's underappreciated, and I'll be honest, like a Terrence Mann that's underappreciated until he's gone. You got to really fully grasp the gravity of him. Like when you don't have those guys, like who's a John Butler to learn from? Like we're gonna ask John Butler's, him and all 160 pounds of him, to go out there and try to do something and stem the tide. It's tough. I do wonder, are they going to try to? Can you even go into not the portal? Like, can you even get enough transfers? Like you could integrate a guy like David Nichols and help your program out when you had other good building blocks that really were going to support the whole thing. Caleb Mills is a good piece, but I feel like you need more Caleb Mills than you need freshmen. But hey, what do I know? It's basketball. It's not mine.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I definitely think it all depends on what happens with some of those guys. Look, I know we all roll our eyes. I'm going to say that every time. That's going to be the qualifier. But Cleveland and Butler are talked about in NBA draft circles, so I just can't imagine with what's going on here the last month that will happen, but I guess it's still a possibility. But you never know. That's the problem with college sports, and especially college basketball. From year to year, you don't know the makeup of your roster. You also don't know if Malik Osborne's coming back. He is eligible. I mean, if he comes back, that would be huge. And these guys are gaining experience, but man, you don't want it to be the wrong kind of experience.
True.
So like when I'm working with Brady on his jump shot, I got a story about that here to end the show with. But when I'm working with him on his jump shot or his baseball swing or something, if he repeats the shot correctly, it's like, yeah, man, just do that 1,000 times. The problem with Brady, or most kids probably, is let's say he shoots 100 jumpers. Well, 80 of the jumpers, he's doing it the wrong way. His form isn't the right way. So he's repeating the wrong form over and over again. So those reps are wasted reps. They're actually negative reps because they're making him worse. And like, not all experience gained is valuable experience. You don't want your team to get used to getting its head kicked in. You don't want your team to get used to losing to Pitt at home or losing to, whoever else, giving up 18 threes to a team or whatever it was. 21. I even remember. You look, the kid from North Carolina was 5 out of 6 in the first half. Of course he was. That was a career high. Of course it was. Kid from Pitt the other night. Of course he hit a career high for threes. He was the only guy on either team that could make shots, and you let him keep shooting wide open threes. These are bad experiences that you hope they learn from, but sometimes, that could just kill your confidence, and it could make you feel like, okay, we're not a good team. We're not supposed to win. We don't win. Like, you don't want not all experience is good experience. You want good reps. If you're going to lose, go down fighting. Go down like you did against Wake Forest. That was Wake Forest was a better team than you that day. They had more talent, but you played hard. You at least played hard. And then the next 2 games, you looked like dog mess against Pitt. Sorry, I hate to use words like mess. You guys know what I mean. Yeah. And then you didn't even compete against North Carolina. So just like they played Tuesday night against Clemson. They're going to lose that game probably, right? Caleb Mills isn't playing probably to go along with Anthony Polite, McLeod, Osborne. We get it. They're going to lose. But, buddy, play hard and fight. That's what I wanted to bring up about Cameron Fletcher. He was the first guy to score a basket in that game, 8.5 minutes in. You know what he did, Aslan? He had a guy guarding him. He said, you know what? You can't guard me. He ripped through, went right by him, leapt up, and laid it in like an athlete, like a basketball player that believes in himself.
You're on scholarship,
Cam
too.
Fletcher has...
Yeah.
Right. Like, good grief. And so I loved what Fletcher did because, he missed like 4 layups. He could have had 24 points in that game. But he played hard and he attacked. Now, he made some, he's got a little Russell Westbrook in him where there's going to be mostly good but some bad. If he has the ball a lot and plays a lot, he's going to have some turnovers and he's going to have some defensive lapses. And there is some stuff that he desperately has to clean up defensively. But he also had 4 steals. He had 10 rebounds. He played hard, man. He looked like he belonged out there and wanted to be out there. And that was even in the first half, too. It wasn't just in the second half when it was a 40-point game. So I just want to see more of that. Win or lose, just go play hard and have some, viv and vigor. Some verve to you, Aslan.
Yeah, that's right.
Any V you can think of. Just play hard, please. And quit letting teams set records against you. You're Florida State, man. Junkyard dog. Come on.
I think we got some other stuff coming up this week. We'll be speaking to people of importance with the Florida State football program. I had the email in front of me. But
we're doing that again? We got that on
Wednesday. We get the new GM, Derek Ray. We'll speak to him. So we got that. So that's cool.
Ask him what the salary cap is this year.
Yeah. For the ACC, it's $54 million. ACC still at about $32 million. So yeah, the payout average for SEC.
Oh yeah, the SEC stuff. Yeah.
So,
and the SEC was $22 million more per school.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that right? Yeah. Cool, man. Cool sport we got. Cool sport.
Don't forget it's Lovers Day, everybody. It's Valentine's Day. Do something nice for the ones you love. Maybe give them some DeLuna. Use the promo code WarChant15. You can give them a gift card. If it's too late, you can't get it delivered same day. They don't work miracles. They do a lot over there, but they can't work miracles. So maybe go to the website DeLunaCoffee.com, get a gift card. You can give that to your significant other or whomever you want to, and then that'll make their day better. Our day got better because we know you listen to this entire show. We appreciate that. Corey, you want to do a live show later?
Hey,
this
I got.
week?
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Okay.
I did have one extra. I had a Brady story to go out on, but I also want to apologize for my tone and my tenor. I'm sure this tone of voice is grating. Always complaining, always ranting about a basketball team. And I want to say that because I was thinking about it when I was watching the North Carolina game, and I was jokingly thinking to myself, what am I doing, man? I need to go out and walk. I need just go and, I mean, it was like 68 degrees up here. It was perfect. And I'm sitting inside watching that. But it's like I'm getting a little too angry at these basketball players because, man, that program has given us a lot of joy.
Yes.
For a long stretch here, certainly more than football here recently in the last half decade. And now it's like, man, I don't even want to watch them. And it's like, golly, man, what kind of fair weather dude are you? Like, they have one down stretch, and now it's really down now. Let's not get it twisted. It's down. And then I sound like I want to blow up the program. So I apologize again. I trust me, it has been, on the whole, very, very, very fun over the last 15 years, Aslan. You believe that? I think this is my 15th year covering Florida State sports. To be covering this basketball program. A lot of joy, a lot of fun moments, a lot of buzzer beaters, a lot of cool wins, a lot of cool guys. It's just I've never experienced a 6-game losing streak. It's hard to the last one was 2005. So it's hard to know what to do with myself and how to handle it. So I'll try to get better and not be as grating. My apologies, everyone.
Were you going to give us a Brady story on the way out, or can we wrap this up?
Yeah, so this is a better basketball story. So I think I've talked a few times about his basketball team. They were incredible. His 13, 14-year-old rec ball team up here, pretty stacked team. And there wasn't even any funny business in the draft. Apparently, the coach was saying last night. It was all kind of random. They just, because none of these kids showed up for tryouts, and he just happened to get like the 2 best kids in the league on his team. And that's not Brady. Brady isn't one of those 2 kids. But anyway, so every game they won by double digits. They were 14-0 going into the championship game. I think most of their game, I think their average margin of victory was like 26 points. And they didn't even run it up. They would call off the dogs. They were just so the championship game is usually it's it's a gym by our house, but it's how they have the full court and then the 2 half courts that go kind of perpendicular. So usually the games are on those 2 half courts, which are 80 feet. But anyway, for this one, they make it the full gym, and they bring the bleachers out. And I don't know what was going on, but there were usually at Brady's basketball game, there's maybe 40 people there watching, cheering, 45, 40. So there were like 200, 250 people there. Oh. And it was loud. And the other team, everybody, Brady's team was the big bad team. Everybody's pulling, they wanted to see the underdog win. And the other team had these high school kids, because, it's 13, 14, so some of these kids are freshmen on the team. And they sounded like the Cameron Crazies. I mean, they were loud, like obnoxiously loud. I'm like, well, I guess this is part of sports, right? I mean, nobody sits on their hands. They don't have to sit on their hands. So they were cheering like turnovers for the other team. Anyway, they were loud. And Brady's team had like an 8 or 9 point lead the whole game, but could never get away, could never run away from it. And then in the with 10 minutes to go, the other team goes on a run. They have a really good player too, this kid named Jonah, who has a brother named Brady Clark. There you go. Oh. But anyway, isn't that crazy? Brady was on his team a couple years ago. But Jonah goes crazy and scores like 12 points in a row, banks in a 3, and all of a sudden Brady's team is down by 3 with 5 minutes to go, and that place is going nuts. And then Brady's best player makes a couple nice plays, a couple nice passes. They score some layups. It ends up, it's really loud, and it's back and forth. It's really intense for a 13, 14-year-old game. I'm setting the stage. So there's 4. Brady's team is up by 4 with about a minute to go, minute 10 to go. And they're not fouling yet. They're trying to get steals, the other team. So Brady's best player passes to the other best player. He drives in, kicks it back out to the other best player. He drives around. They trap him. He throws it to Brady in the corner.
Shooter.
And Brady, without hesitation, rises up. He's not J.J. Redick. He's not getting off the ground much, but he shoots from the corner and buries the 3. Dagger 3. 4-point lead goes to 7-point lead. There's a minute left. That's it shuts those high school kids up.
Dagger.
Our section goes nuts. We didn't get cheer all year because we felt bad because the score was always 40-8. So we never cheered, but it let out a huge ovation. Anyway, so he rips the net, 7-point lead with a minute left. And I'm telling you, Aslan, I'm not lying. He stood in the corner with his hand in the pose, down,
Yes.
reaching in the cookie jar,
Yes.
in the corner, did not move for 6 seconds. Literally, the ball had been inbounded, and they were going down court, and he's still standing in the corner with his arm up in the air. So much so that one of our friends, Anna, who's this sweet school teacher, she yelled at Brady to get down court. Get back. The coach was like, Brady, quit showboating and play. And the coach is as mild-mannered as they come. But if that's not the perfect encapsulation of Brady, big cojones, man, big onions. He loves shooting those shots. He's not the best player on the team, but in that moment, he rises up and hits the dagger three to basically win the championship or wrap it up. And you're like, yeah, Brady, that's awesome. And then immediately when you feel some pride about your son, you're like, and of course he's going to sit there and pose for 6 seconds and make the other guys play 5-on-4. So we're still teaching some things to the young guy. But his answer was, well, the game was over. I just ended the game. And I'm like, well, that's funny because there was still a minute on the clock and they were still playing. Like the game kept going. They didn't just blow their whistles and say that's a wrap. They're up by 7. But yeah, learning lessons. We're always learning lessons. But overall, it was a really cool moment. He just had to Brady it up by posing for 6 seconds.
Hey everybody, it's a Monday. Go find and tap into your inner Brady Clark. It'll make it that much more awesome.
Man, I wish I had as much confidence as that kid in anything I ever did. It is crazy, especially because it's like it's unwarranted,
irrational confidence. Yeah.
Irrational. The irrational confidence is unbelievable. It is such a great way to go through life. So God bless him. God bless him. That's the theme. That's the lesson.
For Brady Clark's dad, I'm Aslan Hajavani. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.